Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Tuesday, the 21st of September 2021. And we're producing our gold and silver morning update and price forecast. Gold and silver prices have risen slightly over the past 24 hours, but all eyes are on tomorrow's FOMC announcement. We're not expecting any large price movements until then. That said, Evergrande has affected equity markets, and any default could cause them to fall further. Though we suspect that for today, we should see a slight improvement. So let's take a look. Welcome to Illuminati Silver. It's Tuesday, 21st of September 2021, and we're running late this morning. It's 10:50 a.m. GMT plus 1. We're running late because the fire brigade had to be called as there was the smell of smoke around the whole estate and we could not verify where it was coming from. And in fact, despite being here for 3 hours, not even the fire brigade can ascertain the actual location. So we are running late, but the sun is shining. So amongst the smoke, there is some sun. However, that said, as far as the news is concerned, there's an awful lot of smoke and perhaps some fires starting to kindle. Evergrande tumbles further after S&P says default is likely. For those following the news, we know that the potential of this organization, Evergrande, to default on its debt later this week has completely destabilized the equity markets, or at least that's the excuse they've given. China Evergrande Group slid deeper in equity and credit markets Tuesday, fueling concerns about broader contagion after S&P Global Ratings said the developer is on the brink of default. The distressed developer shares in Hong Kong dropped as much as 7% after closing Monday, at the lowest in about a decade. This is tiny when you look at the cryptocurrency market that can fall 20% in a day. Its 8.25% dollar bond due 2022 fell 0.3 cents to 24.9 cents, leaving it down some 75% since late May. The junk-rated company is the biggest issuer of high-yield notes in Asia. We believe Beijing would only be compelled to step in if there is a far-reaching contagion, causing multiple major developers to fail and posing systemic risks to the economy. Evergrande failing alone would unlikely result in such a scenario. What else is in the news? UK borrowing 25% below forecast? Can this be true? UK government borrowing was well below official forecasts in the first 5 months of the fiscal year, providing a fillip for Chancellor of the Exchequer Rishi Sunak as he prepares for a review of tax and spending next month. The budget deficit totaled £93.8 billion, or $128 billion, between April and August. That's 25% under the £125.7 billion predicted by the Office for Budget Responsibility in March. The deficit in August alone stood at £20.5 billion, higher than economists had forecast. The undershoot for the current year reflects a stronger than expected recovery from the coronavirus recession. That may allow the fiscal watchdog to cut borrowing projections for the current fiscal year that ends in March and would give Sunak some fiscal leeway when he presents his budget along with a 3-year review of departmental spending on October 27th. Far cry for what's being spent in the United States. Reuters headline, China Evergrande default fears haunt investors as Beijing stands back for now, and we'll see in a moment how equity markets have responded. BBC Business News, now our gas crisis is coming to the fore. Government poised to step in. Government is likely to help big gas providers forced to take customers from failed firms. National Express in talks to buy transport rivals. A little bit of mergers and acquisitions going on. Can the energy market survive this crisis? And Asian stocks mixed as Evergrande fears persist. United States, Trudeau stays in power but falls short of a majority. Canadian Prime Minister's gamble fails to pay off as Liberals projected to form minority government. Let's see what's happening financials. Well, the spot index, excuse me, dollar spot index 93.14, down a little over the last 24 hours, but still holding above 93. Oil prices up broadly $1 for WTI and Brent crude. Equity markets, well, yesterday we saw in the United States equity markets fall broadly between 1.7 and 2.2%, which really reflected what happened to Europe and the Middle East and Asia. But overnight, Asia markets, the Nikkei has been hit hard, down 2%, and the Topix index down 1.7%, but the Hang Seng has staged a bit of recovery, even though it was worse off yesterday, and that's up 0.5%. Europe, broadly up today, well, in fact, almost totally up today. Europe and the UK, over 1% in each case. FTSE performing almost the least well at 1.02% up, and the DAX index 1.4. Economic news, well, yesterday we mentioned the fact that we had the National Association of Home Builders Index, and it actually came out higher than forecast at 76 for September, compared with an expectation of 75. So that's a positive figure. Now today we have building permits, housing starts, and the current account for Q2. Not really expecting any major dramatic moves. The current account might be a little bit off, but none of this is really, unless the figures are dire, they're not really going to adversely affect the market. Tomorrow is the key day with the FOMC statement and Fed Chair Jerome Powell's news conference thereafter. That's the one all eyes will be on. So we can see gold prices this morning, over the last 24 hours, up $6. So we're currently standing at $17.66. Nice to see that slight recovery. When we compare it with the Friday's close, which was at $17.55, we're at some $11 up. Silver is up 5 cents this morning at $22.55. And when we compare that with Friday's, that was $22.41. So we're up 14 cents. We said we expected a small recovery at the start, and we had it. Then it fell, and now it's recovering again slightly, which is good to see. But of course, as mentioned on numerous occasions, it's what the Fed says tomorrow that's going to dictate gold and silver prices for the coming weeks ahead. Cryptocurrency market took a big tumble over the last 24 hours. In fact, down almost 3%, and is currently standing, that says the market capitalization, at 1.93 trillion. Though this morning it's had a very small recovery. It was worse than that in the very early hours of our morning. So where do we stand? Everything is hinging on the FOMC statement tomorrow. Evergrande will play a significant part if it defaults on its debt without any intervention whatsoever. Then equity markets could take a further hit, though we suspect that most of the hit has already been taken, unless there is some obvious contagion from Evergrande's failure. Cryptocurrency market in a state of flux. Obviously, if the equity markets tumble, the crypto markets tend to move in the same direction, and vice versa. But do you know, in spite of that, in spite of the major fall yesterday, you have some of these cryptos which have gained over the last 24 hours. Baby Space Floki, 5,000%. Polar, 550. And Orange Cat token, 333. You couldn't make it up, could you? Couldn't make it up. Anyway, over the weekend we produced a few videos entitled Gold and Silver Sync Wednesday is the Big Day, and why gold and silver may have further to fall. Obviously, if the Fed comes out super dovish tomorrow, then of course probably we'll expect gold and silver prices to rise until the next Fed meeting. Let's see what happens. Thank you for listening. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, press the bell sign. Until our next video. Illuminati silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, We are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.